Party Line on this Wednesday morning. Here we are at the Red Barn Summer Theater. We're going to be broadcasting live here for the next hour. I'm Kevin Keith. We want to thank our Party Line sponsors. They are Welty Custom Exteriors, Welty Works for You, Susan Casper State Farm Insurance, like a good neighbor, Susan is there, Hardesty Landscaping, Encompass Credit Union, community-minded just like you, Milner Healthcare, Ivy Tech Community College, changing lives, Simple Time Antiques, step back into a simple time, and ClintonCountyDailyNews.com, your free local online newspaper. We've got a lot to talk about this next hour. We're going to be talking particularly about the show going on at the Red Barn Summer Theater on Kelly Road in Frankfort, 1,000 Clowns going on right now. We'll give you some details on the performance times and dates, and give you a little more detail about what that's about. And we've got 2, 4, 6, at least 10 or 12 actors and actresses and crew around here. So we appreciate you tuning in this morning on WILO's Party Line. This is a normal day where we would have Jeff Hardesty of Hardesty Landscaping in the studio with us to talk about all things hard and softscape. Jeff came out to join us this morning. Jeff, good morning, and thanks for coming out.
Hey, good morning. Good to be here. I think last time you and I spoke, we were dodging raindrops and all those good things.
Yeah.
It seems as though for the last at least 10 days or so we've been dry.
Yeah.
So it's unusual. So we're in a little bit different mode right now.
Yeah, and we're already at 82 degrees, I think, out this morning. It's going to be nice and humid this afternoon, too. So.
Yeah, my guys love to hear that. I mean,
Yeah, right.
We got, it's just hot and humid. It's more typical July.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it's just typical in Indiana. You know, we had up through March, April, and May, and June, we had almost all that weather of, seemed like it was consistently April.
Mm-hmm, yeah.
And now we've all of a sudden jumped to July and August, so that's just kind of where we are right now. But anyone that knows anything about Indiana, you just stick around because the weather will change.
Right.
But also, there's a certain amount of consistency about Indiana as well.
Right.
You know, it's going to be rainy in the spring, hot, dry in the summer, and then the fall and the winter will come.
At least you know to count on, right?
That's right. That's right.
Well, Jeff, we wanted to bring you in here because I got to be honest. Now, I just came on WILO and Shine 99 about 2.5 years ago. I'm from Southern Indiana in Indianapolis. This is my first time to the Red Barn Summer Theater. I've never had a chance to make it out. I moved here about a year ago after living in West Lafayette and driving that for a year and a half. So I'm already impressed. I love old historical buildings and everything, but there's also the outside part of this that we wanted to bring you in on. Of course, you're a local. You know all about the history of this. They're in their 51st year, I believe. But while we have you, what have you put out here to spruce things up in the outside of the Red Barn Summer Theater?
Tell you, it's always neat to have someone new come to the barn.
Yeah.
Because I moved to Frankfort in 1989, and one of the first things that happened with my wife and I met, that first summer she said, well, we get season, her mom and dad and her got season tickets for the barn every year. She said, you want to go? And I was like, well, sure. So that goes back to, we met in fall of '89, so since 1990, this has been a regular for us.
Mm-hmm.
You know, we came here, we enjoy the theater, and you're going to hear a little bit more from these folks about the history of the barn, because it's a rather unique and exciting history of Clinton County, Frankfort, Central Indiana, and theater as well. So, but for where we came into it, several years, probably the first or second year after we started Hardesty Landscaping, I met with Marty and Carol Henderson, and we started just discussing about ways that we could help spruce up the outside. So we kind of entered into an agreement back then that we established some new beds, maintain the old beds, try to plant angels every spring, and just our responsibility is to try to maintain a historic setting.
Yeah.
You don't come into a setting like this and plant bonsai plants and ornamental things that need to be trimmed and manicured every day and every week. That's why we have out here, we have hydrangeas and lilacs and forsythia, and there's some ring birches and ornamental grasses out there. All those things like that, they tend themselves to a more agricultural, rural, but an old setting as well. It doesn't look like an English garden, and there's a reason for that.
Right.
So, yeah.
That's on purpose. So really, you have almost a 30-year partnership here.
Hardesty Landscaping started in 1994. So yeah, about 1995 is when we started working with Marty and Carol out here, and then it has transitioned, over the years. And sometimes we just do the maintenance. Sometimes we do new beds. Sometimes we rip out plantings and put in new plantings and things like that. You know, we do our part, but also I would be hesitant to say that we're not the only ones. You know, there's other people that do things around here. I know the staff and some of the people, they do some watering and some weeding from time to time when we don't get out here. I know the staff also does the mowing and the caring of the lawn and some things like that. So we're not the only, we're not the only person that has a dog in the show, I guess. But you know, we like just having our thumbprint a little bit on the history of this community and this facility, but also the theater. So.
Well, we know we're going to let you go here in a few minutes. We've got some things to do as a busy guy. But is there anything that you want to share with the listener, Jeff, that maybe you and Ken would be talking about this time of year? I know you all always talk a little weather and, you know, some plannings and stuff, and what you should be doing or shouldn't be doing. And while we've got an opportunity, what's on your mind?
I think the things that we always go through this whole, you know, usually we batter back and forth, like you say, for a half hour, 45 minutes. We talk about what's hot, what's not, what's going on, things like that. Things that we should be doing right now is continue mowing your lawn. At least 5 to 7 days. If you have a fertilized lawn, you want to go about every 5 days because the grass is still growing pretty well. We've got some good soil moisture there. The subsoil moisture is there, so let's continue to do that. If you planted your annuals already, the petunias, the begonias, the impatiens, and all those things like that, that's great. I would continue to water those every 2, 3, 4 days. I like Miracle-Gro. Miracle-Gro on a hose end sprayer to water those. That gives you good nutrition through the whole season. And it keeps pushing growth, but also bloom growth and things like that as well. But also, the thing is well done this time of year. You've always heard me talk about trimming of shrubs this time of year.
Yeah.
You should never trim shrubs. You always trim shrubs at the right time. Now is the right time to trim evergreens. Because the evergreens, like the yews and the boxwoods especially, the new growth has come on, which is that bright green color, and it is hardened off from bright green to dark green now. So as soon as it turns dark green, now's the time to trim. If you trim too early, it's the genetic disposition of that plant. If you prune that new growth off before it's hardened off, it's going to send out new growth as soon as you trim it. So you're going to end up trimming it not once, but twice.
Right.
So, you know, wait to do those things. And right now, you go ahead and trim your yews, your boxwoods, all evergreen materials you can prune now. That's fine. Other things you can prune this time of year is a lot of viburnums are starting to bloom or they're getting ready to stop bloom. The blooming has already occurred. Again, if you've listened to me long enough, you hear that evergreens get pruned in the 1st of July. Anything deciduous or the blooms gets bloomed within 6 weeks after it stops blooming. So after something stops blooming, 6 weeks is when you want to do it. If you go 8, 10, 12, 14, 16 weeks, you will cut off the bloom for next year. So if you try to prune your lilacs now, lilacs bloomed in April. So we're April, we're May, we're June, we're almost in July. If you prune your lilacs now, you will cut off the blooms for next year. So your lilacs won't bloom next spring.
Should have already done that, right?
Should have already done that, yeah. But you know, realize, you know, we get into a lot of situations where we have to do, I guess you would call it rescue pruning.
Yeah.
So if a lilac gets to be 10, 12, 15 foot tall, and you can't see the front door of the house, and you can't get in the garage, you have to go in and prune it. So you try to go in and prune out about a third of the plant, realize that you're going to cut out a lot of blooms. And you just have to inform the client, or you as a homeowner, you got to realize that that year you're not going to get a lot of blooms next spring. So you just have to be aware of that. But the following spring, it will produce, it will be fine. So.
What's the word you're hearing out on the street or the country roads on farmers? I gotta go by what I can see, you know, when I'm driving around Clinton County.
You know, if you've been on the radio long enough, you've heard me long enough, I'm a farm kid. I grew up on a farm in south central Indiana. We still have a family farm down there. The old rule of thumb was whenever I was a kid, or well, not when I was a kid, my grandparents used to say, corn you want to knee high by the 4th of July.
Right.
With modern technology and corn hybrids, you know, usually the 4th of July, it's at least waist, if not shoulder or head high. I think this year, though, as late as it's planted, if we have corn knee-high or half-thigh high by the 4th of July, we should be thrilled. Because it was a late crop, went in the ground late. So right now, from an agricultural standpoint, we want to have consistent rain now. a corn crop or a bean crop will survive on an inch of rain a week. Okay?
Okay.
So we'd like to see about an inch of rain a week. And if I could be a fortune teller or get what I'd like to have, from a landscape perspective and also from a farmer perspective, I would like to see rain start about 10 o'clock Saturday night, be done by about 9 or 10 o'clock Sunday morning. That way it rains overnight, it doesn't disturb our day. Okay? So if we could put a forecast in for that, it'd be great. But, we realize it can't happen.
Right.
But, so we'd like to see a consistent inch of rain a week to push that crop through, because we want to get it to grow, we want to get it to fill out the develop roots, but also fill out the corn and the bean pods, all those things like that. So, and also like this thing that we would ask for as well, if we're sending up prayers to the Lord right now, we want a late fall. We want a late frost. Typical frost date for Indiana is October 15th to the 16th. Typical frost date for us around here is the 10th through the 15th of October. We would like to see a frost date now at the end of October, or first or second week of November, because when a frost comes, it stops growth and it kills the plant tissue off, and we want that crop to grow as long as possible.
So you're around this every day, Jeff. What's the Hardesty home look like? You got a little garden? You plant tomatoes or peppers, or does Lynette maybe take care of that?
The Hardesty homestead is taken care of by the Hardesty landscaping crew. I lay out the annuals, the guys plant them. We're on a mowing schedule, we're on all those things like that. So it's maintained, obviously under my supervision.
Right.
And also the supervision of my wife. Because Lynette will get home some night, she's like, the guys were here. It's like, yeah, could you have them check that? And I'm like, sure. But overall, they do a great job. So, we try to maintain that very well. My house is in town. My garden is at the shop.
Okay.
Because we have no sun at my house.
Where you're at?
I like, when we first bought the house 30 some years ago, it was a house on a lot. And so I planted 6, 8 trees. And I like shade, because shade makes things cool. You can go outside and sit under a shade tree. I don't like to go out and sit in the middle of the sun.
Yeah,
Okay?
yeah.
For us very complected people, we burn quick, we fry. So a lot of shade in our house. So I put a little garden at the shop. We plant 8 or 10 tomato plants, and that's about it. So and our tomatoes are looking decent. They are, they're probably 3 foot tall.
Yeah.
Looking decent. They've set some tomatoes on it. So, and also realize I do have security cameras at my shop. So if I see tomatoes missing, I'll look them up and find out. I'll track you down.
Well, my tomato plants are doing pretty good too, so I'll take care of you if you need some.
All right.
What would you like to leave us with here, Jeff? Phone number, contact information. I guess you guys are busy right in the middle of it right now, but if somebody needs your services, it's certainly still available.
Sure. Absolutely. It's phone number is 765-242-6015. The absolute easiest way to get a hold of me, though, is to drop me an email.
Okay.
Email is simple. It's just Jeff, Jeff, @hardestylandscaping.com, and we'll get back with you as quick as possible. And I guess also those are the things that I take a look at those things. Address is 1750 Washington Avenue. Yes, we are open, even though there's construction to our west. The road is a mess to the west. But if you come in from the east, we're there. So to take care of that. And I guess as my parting shot here, as I get ready to go, is for those that are new to the barn, or if you're old, you've been here and coming for tickets and coming for a long time, come back out. Come to the barn, enjoy the theater. There's still some shows left. I'm sure there's tickets left. They're going to talk about that a little bit. They're going to talk about this new upcoming show here, or the show they're in right now. Come, enjoy, be a part. And you'll realize really quick, this isn't just a Clinton County thing. When we said, I know people from Noblesville, Carmel, West Lafayette. There's probably people who travel farther, because this is a very unique thing. This is a unique jewel that we have in this community.
A lot of people don't realize that. I've worked in radio all over the state in small communities and large, and I've never seen anything quite like this in a community this size. So if you've lived here all your life, you kind of almost take it for granted, but this is special.
It is special. And you do have a tendency to take it for granted, but yet also, whenever you step back, take a deep breath. And if you will Google live theater in Indiana, your list will be pretty short.
Yeah.
If you summer theater,
Even shorter.
even shorter. If you want to go find a theater like this that takes place in an old barn or a historical setting, it's a cool place.
Mm-hmm.
It just is. So you got to come experience that. And there's a reason why they've been doing this for 51 years.
Yeah.
Because it's successful, people come, people support it. And I guess that's the thing I would ask as well, you know, come buy tickets, come out and see the show, but also there's a foundation, and they'll talk about those things in a little bit as well, I'm sure. But come support, be a part, and keep this thing going for another 50, 100 years. That's what, I guess that would be my wish, because I'd like it to go on long past Jeff and Lynette are here, and long past all these young folks are here. It'd be beautiful to see this thing continue on for many, many years to come.
Well, Jeff, thanks for making a special trip out this morning.
Absolutely, we're glad to do that. Glad to sponsor the hour here, and I'm going to turn things over and let you and these wonderful young people, because they're all younger than I, take over and go from there.
Jeff, thanks again.
All right, we'll see you later.
All right, again, this is WILO's Party Line. We are live at the Red Barn Summer Theater. I'm Kevin Keith, and Jeff Hardesty, we've been speaking with him for just 10 to 12 minutes. I want to thank our other sponsors too, Welty Custom Exteriors, Susan Casper State Farm Insurance, Hardesty Landscaping, of course, Encompass Credit Union, Milner Healthcare, Ivy Tech Community College, Civil Time Antiques, and ClintonCountyDailyNews.com. I want to grab, how about Aaron? I want to grab Aaron Moon, who's an actor and a technician. If you would, Aaron, just slide right around here. I appreciate that. With the Red Barn Summer Theater, actor and technician. Aaron, thanks for having us out this morning.
Absolutely, great to see you.
Now, full disclosure, I saw the movie 1,000 Clowns about 15 years ago. Jason Robards was the main
Okay,
actor.
I wondered if you saw that one or the more
I have
recent
not
Tom
seen
Selleck
it.
one.
No.
Yeah.
What was Tom Selleck like in that?
I didn't see
Didn't
that.
see that one?
I know of it, I don't know.
Okay, all right. Well, Robards is just a classic actor, and it was, I remember liking it because the story was a little awkward, to say the least, and it got my attention as a 20-year-old. So I want to read this a little bit about just a quick description of what 1,000 Clowns is, and then we'll get into the details as to when this will be performed. It's a Broadway comedy, produced one of the theater's most beloved roles, which is Murray Burns, a nonconformist bachelor who's endeavoring to rear his precocious, nephew. Murray's wary of writing comedy for bad children's TV and is so grateful when he finds himself out of a job. He takes to unemployment like a duck to water and enjoys his life without the rat race. But when social services comes to visit and wants to ensure that his nephew is receiving a proper upbringing, Murray is forced to choose between going back to work or losing his nephew. The character of Murray Burns remains one of the most funniest and curmudgeonly roles ever written for the stage. That's pretty much what I remember watching the movie. Aaron, does that pretty much sum it up?
Yeah, I mean, I would, to me, the action of the play is Murray becoming an adult.
Mm-hmm. Right.
He,
I remember that he was more of the child. It was like the nephew. Was
absolutely,
the adult
he,
in the beginning.
he responsibility be darned. and also the time frame of it is early 60s, so they've just come out of the whole McCarthy era, and so to be an out-of-work comedy writer, it's a little dicey then, people don't want to touch him.
Right.
But he just doesn't seem to care.
So what's your role in this here?
I play Murray's brother,
Okay.
Arnold, who tries to, who is also his agent.
Okay.
So I send him to appointments that he blows off or berates the people that he's interviewing with, and then I have to fix that.
Mm-hmm.
And then during the course of the show, I get to speak my piece to him and kind of revel in who I am in the process, and that's very nice. It's one of those poignant moments you've heard about. It's a comedy and it's got some very nice dramatic overtones to it.
Mhm.
You know, it's a thinker. That may be a bad thing to say on live radio, but yeah, it'll make you laugh, and it may make you a little misty, and it'll definitely make it for a good conversation on the ride home.
Well, if nothing else, it's engaging people, right? They're thinking about it in the audience and they're watching it performed on stage.
Absolutely, and you know, show one was a strong English farce. It was all about the bits and the slapstick,
Mhm.
and you didn't really need a whole lot of words for that. This one, the substance of the play comes from the words,
Mhm.
and it's a joy to listen to. It's well written.
So, if you have off the top of your head, what's the available times for this? You told me that you'll be performing tonight, right?
Correct. Tonight, 8 o'clock. We are dark tomorrow for the 4th, and then Friday, Saturday will be an 8 o'clock performance and 2 o'clock Sunday.
And of course, tickets are available. What's the best way to get those? Can you buy them here at the box office when you show up? Do you have some available, or is it close to being sold out?
I think you're going to be pleasantly surprised when you come in for tickets. Those can be purchased online through redbarntheater.net, and then walk-ups are always welcome. We do accept credit cards now. That's a recent feature as of last year, so that makes things much easier. Come out anytime,
Mhm.
anytime, and really come out at any time and have a walk around the grounds. There's always someone here who's glad to show you around and bring you in on the history of the place, show you the fish in the fish pond, you know. And we're a people who love the art, and we want you to love the art, and we're going to do everything we possibly can to bring you into the fold.
So as an actor slash technician, I know what an actor is, but how long have you been with Red Barn? And when you say technician, does that mean literally switching out lights and making sure the sound is good?
That is everybody who works here. I started at the Red Barn in 1990, and I worked the 90 through 2000 seasons, and then I went off and around the country and applied what I learned here. Many different places. I do film, television, radio. I work currently for Elliott Hall, Purdue University, using my stagecraft skills. Let's see.
So you're here quite a bit at Red Barn now, right?
This
At least
is.
right now.
Oh yeah, this is absolutely a full-time gig, and even when we're not on the grounds, you got to learn the script. So there's always homework. And then on the technical side of it, I do, for example, a lot of properties design. Like you'll notice there are a lot of clocks on this set.
Mm-hmm.
I got a clock guy.
Right.
in Lafayette. There's a specialty lamp in the show that I built.
Okay.
You know, there's in the upcoming show, there's a bust that we had to have made of one of our actors, and and we arranged with the engineering department at Purdue, and that's being 3D printed
Oh, wow.
currently, and all we had to provide was the materials. So it's just that sort of thing. We're a small town, so if we do a show that requires specialty things, we either gotta build it or find it, and relationships in the community are so vital for that. You know, we need to be able to borrow the right things from the right people more than once.
Right.
So we take great care with all of that. In the middle of the set here
Yeah.
is my father's first television, my father's family's first television.
That's a real one, isn't it?
It
Yeah,
is.
yeah.
It is, and I trust these people enough to put it in the middle of the stage.
So do you enjoy that creative outlet to be able to create things, not only create an actor or actress on stage, but give you a little more something to have more ownership in it? Like you said, building sets and props and bringing in TVs.
Well, this is where I started my theater career, and it wasn't until I got to college that I realized that I found out that this isn't how it works everywhere. Everybody in this company does everything. Everybody in this company built, painted, propped, costumed. And for a lot of our new company members, this is the first time they've experienced that. You know, they're coming from a school setting where that's taken care of, you know, where you're just talent.
Right.
And we don't have anybody here. We can't have anybody here that's just talent. Everybody has to learn everything and get good at it on the shore.
Right.
It's just vital. But we all, you know, it's a family thing. Nobody wants to look bad, and certainly nobody wants anyone else to look bad because it reflects poorly on us. So we do everything we can to make it exactly right.
So again, we are at the Red Barn Summer Theater in Frankfort, just off Kelly Road, or on Kelly Road. I'm Kevin Keith, and this is WILO's Party Line. We're out here talking to the cast and crew, and we've got several more to catch up with here in a moment. Right now, talking about 1,000 Clowns, which is going on right now, and it has been for the last couple of days. Performance tonight, what time did that start again, Aaron?
8 o'clock, sir.
All right. And that'll be going through the 7th, with the exception of no performance tomorrow night. What kind of reception have you had in the last week, y'all doing this?
Now, Mike will be a better watermark for that than I will, as he's out on the lot when people are leaving and is hearing what people are saying. But we've had wonderful crowd reaction, interaction, and that's just it's interesting. Some of our crowds are more about the bits and the physical and the hey the Gloivens, but then you've got your listening crowds who are catching the little one-liners and the subtle bits of humor, and the audience to an extent shapes the show on a nightly basis, and that's one of the just incredible things. This place is an immersive experience. We're in an old barn. Depending on the weather, it's going to smell radically different. You know, you can smell the dampness in the air here now.
That's part of the experience.
Absolutely. Yeah. We had a squirrel run on the stage in the middle of the show that an actress nearly stepped on. Because that's where it lives here, you know. But with that interaction with the audience and with the weather, you know, when it rains, it gets very loud in here. So that, as an actor, greatly affects how you have to use your voice to communicate. You got to get the sound out.
Yeah, you got to make adjustments too, right?
Yeah. I forget who it was, but many years ago, someone described this place as Snowflake Theater. Each performance is unique, and every time you come here, you get to see something that was created just for the people in these seats on that night. It's special. It's a one-off. You're not going to find that around much.
Aaron, I might have you help me grab our next guest. Now, I wanted to find out, is Murray here?
Murray is here.
Okay.
That is an actor by the name of Connor Scott, and he is this
guy right here.
Yes.
Well, I tell you what, we're coming up on 9 o'clock, so I'm going to take a commercial break, and then we'll come back and we'll have almost a full half hour to talk to everybody. So, we'll be talking to Murray to start off with when we come back. We're talking about 1,000 Clowns. Again, I'm Kevin Keith. This is WILO's Party Line. We want to thank our sponsors. They are Welty Custom Exteriors, Susan Casper State Farm Insurance, Hardesty Landscaping, Encompass Credit Union, Miller Healthcare, Ivy Tech Community College, Simple Time Antiques, and ClintonCountyDailyNews.com. We'll be back after this from WILO. Welcome back to Party Line. We are live at the Red Barn Summer Theater on Kelly Road in Frankfort. I'm Kevin Keith. We want to thank our sponsors, Welty Custom Exteriors, Susan Casper State Farm Insurance, Hardesty Landscaping, Encompass Credit Union, Miller Healthcare, Ivy Tech Community College, Simple Time Antiques, and ClintonCountyDailyNews.com. We are on location today for Party Line exclusively to talk about the Red Barn Summer Theater, the ins and outs of it, and some of the plays and performances they've been putting on and will be putting on the rest of the summer. So they've been working on 1,000 Clowns and performing that the last week or so. You could do that, you could come out and see them tonight at 8 o'clock. Tomorrow is, of course, July 4th. There will be no production then, but then they'll pick that up and have another a couple nights of 1,000 Clowns. So come on out and get your tickets if you can, or if you haven't already. Joining me now is Connor Scott. Connor's from a town called Holly, Michigan, and Connor plays the role of Murray Burns in 1,000 Clowns. Connor, first off, thanks for joining us this morning.
Yeah, no problem. Glad to be here.
Tell me about this character.
Well, it's a big character. When I was first handed it, I remember being surprised at their willingness to give such a large part to someone who'd never been here. This is my first season out here at the Red Barn, but I was enthusiastic and I was excited. I like tackling more dramatic characters, more complex characters. Yeah, and it's a tough role. He's a guy who's living life on the low. He's taking a vacation from life. Not a lot of commitments, not a lot of responsibilities, and trying to make a character that is not innately responsible or making all the choices, but is still lovable by the audience, was the challenge for me, making a character that did not come off too harsh or rude to the audience, someone that the audience would want to punch at the end of the night, was the goal. And very short rehearsal process. So coming in I tried to come in as prepared as I could, to make the role believable and workable. So with the short rehearsal process, some of the things felt like they were only coming together at the last second. But I'm very proud of the result we came with, and I can only thank my co-actors as well for being easy to work off of. But yeah, it's been a very good experience.
Tell me about your nephew. I've heard he might be here this morning, but he's not able to be here with us. How old is he, and what's his name? And tell us a little bit about him.
Yeah, it's a 13-year-old. His name is Eli, who's a local here from Frankfort. He's just a funny kid to work with. He's just goofy in all the right ways. He's easy to work with on stage because he's a lot of energy, and he tries to take a very strong approach with the character. I haven't worked with kids a lot on stage, especially 13 to 16, like that tween age is not something that's often written in shows. So I didn't know what to expect. If this was going to be a kid that was easier to work with, or someone that I was like, I may only be like 6, 7 years older than you, but I have no idea what you're talking about. But no, he's been good to work with. He's come in hardworking, just as hardworking as the rest of the cast. No, it's been a very good experience working with him. There's a local.
And I guess his role is the more responsible one,
Yes.
at least at the beginning, right?
Right.
So that's probably a different take for him.
Yeah, no, it definitely is. That I'm playing a more childish, energetic character on stage, brushing responsibilities off, and he has to approach me with that stern, adult, like you better take control of your life approach. So that's fun to work with on stage. He's been doing a really good job with it.
What's a little bit of your background? I've noticed you're a younger guy. Do you get into the technical aspects of this too, and help paint and everything?
Yeah, here at the Red Barn, we all work on the parts of the landscaping, of the upkeep, the building of the sets. I personally have experience working in our stage shop at Anderson University, where I go to college. So a lot of things like building the set, is things I'm on an old hand at. So it actually was a fun experience for me, getting to come and realize that I did get to work as a technician. You don't usually get to do in a professional setting. Usually the jobs are split. So I've actually been enjoying my time being able to assist where I can, build the sets, paint, upkeep the place. It just keeps you busy and doing, and there's a lot of things to learn with an old place like this, keeping it up and running.
So where did you get started? How did you get started? Was it a 5th grade play? You were a pumpkin on stage?
No, I remember I did drama club in middle school because I didn't want to be in the choir because that's where all the kids I didn't like were. So I did it, and I remember my first performance on a stage because I did well enough in this little 2-person acting scene. I was so nervous to get on stage. I was sitting in the front chair, just shaking before I got on stage. I was like, this is one of those, in my little 8th grade mind, I was like, this is one of those moments in your life where there's no backing down. You have to do this, Connor. And I remember halfway through that scene, like waking up on stage and realizing that I like blacked out, went into robot mode for the first half of it. That was really the first time, but no, actually it wasn't until high school that I got into it. It's because honestly I moved to a new high school, and all the people who I thought were cool were the theater people. And I was like, man, I want to be their friends. So, being educational theater, they found a guy who was willing to be on stage, and they wrote me in. And yeah, I discovered through high school that this was my passion, what I wanted to do, and decided to go to college for it.
So you're at Anderson University now?
Yes.
What's your ideal job in the future? What do you want to do?
The dream with this is making enough money that this is my job. I would like to stick with the stage. Anything, whether it be theater or anything performance related. I'm a strong singer as well that I would love to do. But yeah, the dream is to move out to a larger city, Chicago or New York City, and try to make it just as a full-time worker in the entertainment industry.
All right. Well, Connor Scott from Holly, Michigan, thank you so much for joining us, and have a good time tonight. I guess it's been pretty smooth so far. Right?
Yeah, it's had up and down, but we've had good crowds, and it's a good community here, especially here, the people that have worked at the Red Barn a long time, very inviting. So yeah, I appreciate being here. I love the town of Frankfort and the community that's here.
All right. Well, I might have one of you guys help me maybe pick a couple of these actors or actresses who would have a role in tonight's performance and some of the other performances. There's a lady that everybody's pointing to. So I'm going to grab her if you come up here.
Thank you very much.
Thank you again, Connor. And you are Katie, right?
Yes.
All right, I got that right. Katie, where are you from?
I'm from Cleveland, Ohio, or actually Chardon, Ohio, which is a suburb about 45 minutes east of Cleveland.
All right. How did you hear about Red Barn Summer Theater?
Well, I'm a student at Indiana University, so I was looking for some professional work for the summer, some summer stock work, and I just started researching different companies in the area in the Midwest. And Red Barn kind of stuck out to me, so I sent in a headshot and resume, and I heard back from Mr. Taylor here, the director, and he offered me a part in the company, and I was really excited. So I started researching the barn, and it's a really cool atmosphere. Yeah, so historic and everything. So I was really excited to get started.
So I heard that you have the main female lead in this. Is
Yes.
that correct? Who's the what's the word I'm looking for? Who's the character?
Well, her name is Sandra. She is a social worker, actually. So she's one of the people.
Oh, that's you, huh?
Yes,
Okay.
that's me. So she's one of the people that come into Murray's home and really tries to investigate Nick's situation, tries to find the best suitable outcome for him. But she actually is engaged to Albert, who is her coworker, who comes into this situation with her at the beginning. But he is likes the facts, very scientific. He wants just the carpal truth. But Sandra's a little more empathetic. She really, truly feels for each of her patients, and she really cares about Nick and wants the best for him. So that's where that conflict kind of arises. But she ends up really kind of forming an attachment to Murray, and she really seems to enjoy being with him. So that kind of shapes the storyline from there.
Mm-hmm. Were you familiar with this role before? Have you seen the movie or anything?
I hadn't, but when I thought I was playing her, I went and watched the old Jason Robards one with my mom. So I was really surprised. I really like the show. It's one of those where there's definitely some comedic moments, but also there's a good bit of drama and a good kind of heartwarming message towards the end.
There is a message, and it's a little deeper than you think.
Yeah, for sure.
So what do you anticipate being in this next performance as well? Is that the way it works?
Yes, I'll be playing a courtesan in A Funny Thing That Happened on the Way to the Forum, which honestly is hilarious. We're just in the process of rehearsing now, so we've blocked the entire show, and everyone's already laughing the entire time. There's definitely some great comedic bits in this one.
So what's your all's day look like after today? When we set this up a couple weeks ago, I was heard that, hey, my boss basically told me, hey, they're all going to be out there. That's where we need to be. So that's why we're here this morning. What does your day look like today in preparation for this evening?
Well, in preparation for the evening, we always have certain jobs that just need to be completed around the theater just to make sure it's ready for the show, because the most important thing that happens each night is what's on the boards. But during the day, aside from that, we are preparing for the next show at hand. So we're rehearsing for form, we're learning choreography, learning musical numbers, and then also just making sure the show is blocked and ready to go. So that kind of is our daily work up until our call for the show tonight, and then we just spend the night preparing, getting in character, making sure the stage is set, costumes and everything, so.
So you're remembering the lines for tonight's show, but you're also practicing now
Yes.
in advance. So yeah, that probably use brains you didn't know you had.
Yeah, it's a little bit of a challenge, but nothing too hard. You just have to kind of box out the two different characters, because they're definitely very different shows. So, and also using two different accents and everything can be a little challenging, so you kind of just have to block that out in your mind.
How's that, trying to do an accent and staying in character with that?
Honestly, it was hard at first. I had never done a New York accent,
Mm-hmm.
but I worked a lot with the different company members. I looked at different clips online of, like, I know Margot Robbie doing a New York accent and everything, so that really kind of helped me get the gist of that, and then kind of applying that to the character from there.
All right. Can I get a New York accent?
I mean, sure. I mean, you can be like, I'm going to walk the dog in the park, and we're going to go get some coffee today, you know, just stuff like that. Great time.
Very good. Katie, thank you again, Katie Malish. Now I'm gonna count on you to maybe grab the next person here. Who would be somebody that has a role in this evening?
All right. This evening or the next performance?
I'm thinking tonight's performance.
Tonight's performance. Well, we have Cole Regal here. He's
Get over here,
local,
Cole.
and he's in this performance as well as the next one. So.
Katie, thank you.
Thank you so much.
All right. And again, we are on WILO's party line. We're at the Red Barn Summer Theater. I'm Kevin Keith, and we're talking with the crew. Did I not write your name down here? Are you on here somewhere?
No.
Oh, wow. Maybe you snuck in. Cole, right? Mm-hmm. Okay, what's your character this evening?
My character is Albert Amundsen, or if I may, Mr. Amundsen.
And what's this character do? What's his story?
Oh, well, I'm a social worker, you know. I'm coming in here because there's been some talks with the school that Nick goes to, and the school talked with the school, and they don't really, ooh, man, and Nick doesn't really, we're concerned for Nick, so I'm coming here because I'm concerned for Nick with my colleague and fiance, Sandra, because we need to check out Nick's social environment. And we come here and we discover Murray and Nick, and we find the relationship that they have. And I mean, I kind of have a stick up my butt, and I'm not the greatest fan of Nick and Murray because they play with me. I'm very straightforward.
Pretty business, huh?
Business.
Okay.
I play by the book. If it's not going by the book, I freak out. I have no clue what's going to happen. It's like a bowl in a china shop, you know what I mean? What's going on? I don't know.
Tell me a little bit about you, Cole. Where are you from?
I'm from Frankfort, Indiana. I am a 2019 Frankfort High School graduate. Fun fact about me. Yep, I went to Frankfurt, and I'm from Frankfurt.
So how long you been at it?
How long have I been acting? Well, plug to Sherry Nichols here. She put me in my first play, A Super Groovy Night's Dream. It was my 8th grade play, and it was just a super groovy night's dream compared to A Midsummer's Night's Dream.
Oh.
And so I give her credit for me being on stage, and I started doing things in high school, and then eventually I asked to be out here at the barn, and then I've grown, and I've gotten to act more.
So what are you wanting to do with your future? You're a young guy. You just graduated high school.
I just graduated high school. I'm going to be going to Ball State University next year. I think it goes chirp, chirp. I'm a theater creations major. I plan on auditioning for the acting BFA. Hopefully I make it. And then after college, you know, I'd like to try and go to New York or something like that and make it. Chicago, you know, do some acting just like Connor. Make it, just have financial stability.
Right. Good luck. I think you've got a good start anyway. You got the right attitude.
Yeah.
All right, thanks a lot, man. We appreciate it. We're going to go ahead and take another break. We've just got about 14 minutes left in the program here. We're going to talk to quite a few people on this next break. When we come back on WILO's Party Line, again, our sponsors are Welty Custom Exteriors, Susan Casper State Farm Insurance, Hardesty Landscaping, Encompass Credit Union, Melbourne Healthcare, Ivy Tech Community College, Simple Time Antiques, and ClintonCountyDailyNews.com. We'll be right back. Red Barn Summer Theater off Kelly Road in Frankfort. Our sponsors include Welty Custom Exteriors, Susan Casper State Farm Insurance, Hardesty Landscaping, Encompass Credit Union, Miller Healthcare, Ivy Tech Community College, Simple Time Antiques, plus ClintonCountyDailyNews.com, your free local online newspaper. I'm Kevin Keith, joined by David Kentworthy. David from Kokomo, Indiana. He's quite familiar to the central Indiana area, but most recently, Colorado?
That's correct, Colorado. That's where I call home at this point and have for quite a few years now.
And you were telling me off the air here that you were able to wrap up something out there just in time to come here and enjoy a couple months with us in Frankfort.
Yep, that's right. I actually, I started my theater career here as well back in the mid-90s. And I've been a professional actor for quite a few years. I've done a couple of movies, and then I ended up taking a position out in Grand Junction, Colorado, at a dinner theater out there. And unfortunately, the dinner theater closed during the recession, but we got another theater started several years ago. And so I run the KAFM Radio Room Players. We do actually old-time radio shows as well as stage performances. And then we record them and broadcast them on the air. So the last thing I did was the Western Colorado Writers Forum. That was a group of writers submitted their works from all over Western Colorado. And some of these were poetry and prose as well as stage plays. And then we performed those on stage. Some of them, the actual writers got to perform their work.
Wow.
And then we also had a company of actors performing. So we just finished that up literally the day that I drove to Denver to fly back to Frankfort, Indiana, and do a working vacation to visit my family and do one of my favorite roles of all time.
Which is?
Hysterium, and funny thing happened on the way to the forum. My father, Merrill Kenworthy, played the role, and by the way, shout out to my dad, he taught adjunct faculty for one of your sponsors at Ivy Tech.
Okay.
I started in radio when I was 15 here in central Indiana.
Okay.
So I love this area.
Be careful, I'll give you a job.
Oh, don't do that. Anything to keep me here, but no, my family is super important, and we have been coming to the barn for years and years. This is just such a wonderful gem here. And when I found out that Michael Taylor took over the directorship out here, Michael and Aaron Moon, who you spoke to at the beginning, we're all contemporaries. We used to be the kids here at the barn. We used to be the young folks. And now we're supposedly the grown-ups. So it's pretty exciting to be back here and being a part of the barn atmosphere. I love it.
Well, I appreciate you taking time with us today, David. Could you tell us a little bit about a funny thing happened on the way to the forum that'll be starting July 11th?
I can tell you more than you want to hear. A funny thing happened on the way to the forum is a great show. Stephen Sondheim did music for this. This is one of his early shows. And like I said, when my father played it, I saw the movie of this back in the day. And this is just so much fun. It's a slapstick, fun, fast-paced comedy. There are a lot of confused identities, people in disguise, people running around in circles. But there's also moments where it slows down. There's a great love story involved. And my character is the foil to the lead in the show, Pseudolus. Pseudolus is kind of the troublemaker. He is trying to put together a scheme that gets him his freedom. He's a slave. in ancient Rome times. This takes place in ancient Rome, and I am unfortunately the guy who is the recipient of some of his worst ideas, which includes me getting in a white dress and a wig, which will make my 14-year-old son laugh his bottom off. Just hearing about me having to get in drag, he thought that was hilarious.
That'll be a great Facebook memory.
Oh, it will. I've unfortunately got a few pictures and don't want me sharing. I've actually got a picture. I didn't get to play this role. I got to understudy this role, so I only got to do it once at the dinner theater back in Colorado. So I've got a picture of me in a white dress and a blonde wig holding my infant son, William, in my arms, and he's now 14, and he gets to see what in the world that picture that he's seen for years is all about.
Okay, makes sense now. David, thank you again.
Thank you very much, Kevin.
All right. Okay, so we've got just a couple minutes left in the program. I want to go around the horn here if we could. I want to give everyone a chance, and I'm going to hope that we hold our signal okay as we're walking around the theater here. First off, name and where you're from.
My name's Kiara Wood. I'm from Frankfort. I'm a local here.
How'd you hear about this? You've been going since you was a kid, maybe checking it out, and just had some interest in theater?
I always knew it was here, but I didn't get involved with theater until about 8th grade, so I wasn't always coming here as a kid. But I got more involved here in high school. I did my first summer after my junior year in Urinetown, so it was kind of each year summer from there. Yeah.
Are you have a role in the next play?
I do. My character's name is Hannah Sita. I play one of the choruses in the ensemble.
She's also the choreographer.
Yes.
Oh.
I'm also, choreography and dancing and all that.
Oh, so you helped put that together then.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, Kiara, thank you for talking to us today. Are you Danielle?
I am.
Tell us about yourself, Danielle. Where are you from?
I'm from Cincinnati, Ohio. This is my first summer out here. It's been really fun. Heard about this. I was looking out for summer stock theater, and I found this place, and I sent my resume and headshot, and then my friend called me up a little while later, and he was like, "Hey, you want to do theater?" And I was like, "Yeah, I want to do theater."
Well, we're glad to have you here, and thank you for coming, Danielle, and good luck, all right? I mean, break a leg, sorry. And we talked to Katie. Again, thank you, Katie.
Of course.
All right. And your name, sir?
Adam Nichols.
Adam, what do you do here? What's your role?
I'm a company member, actor, and also, as you've heard from many people, just one of the do whatever needs to be done.
Yeah,
for
yeah.
person.
That's got to be satisfying, though, right? You know, knowing you had a part of this, or whether you're changing a light bulb or something, just getting it done, right?
Absolutely. I mean, theater is not only about what happens on the stage, but everything that happens to make it a success.
Right. Thank you for your time.
Yes, thank you.
And who we got here?
Hello there, I'm Luke McLaughlin.
Tell me about yourself, Luke.
Yes, I will. So I'm a company member here at Barn, and this is my 6th summer here. I'm playing Sudas in the next show, which
Oh,
is
okay.
the lead that David was talking about. But I am also one of the do-it-all men here at the barn building. I'll be mowing the lawn in just a few minutes.
And you, sir?
My name is Sam Lynn.
Sam? What are you doing here? What's your role?
Well, I'm an actor here at the Red Barn. This is actually my 2nd year here. I was here last year. Coming up, I will be playing Hero, and a funny thing happened on the way to the forum, and coincidentally, Pseudolus is my slave. So he does all the dirty work, but it's mainly of his own design.
Where are you from?
I am from Crawfordsville, Indiana.
Okay.
And I go to Anderson University. I actually heard about the Red Barn through my brother, Anthony Lynch, who knows Mr. Taylor, and I've helped Taylor out with a couple of productions. But last year was when I actually came here, and I love it. I love this place very much.
Fantastic. It is quite unique. I want to squeeze in a couple more here before we end the program. Your name? Oh, I'm sorry. We already have you here. Your name?
I'm Jordan Flora.
Hi, Jordan. Where are you from?
I'm from Frankfort, Indiana.
All right. What's your role here? Are you going to be in on the next one?
Yeah, I will be Domina in the musical, and I am the current sound technician for 1,000 Miles.
Okay, and for the musician, you said the sound technician, you mixing everything down and make sure it sounds right?
I'm trying.
What's always a learning process, right?
Absolutely. We're always learning out here.
All right, very good. Did I miss anybody? I want to make sure, I'm going to grab him to wrap up here. We've got Michael Taylor, the artistic director. Michael, thanks for having us out this morning.
Hey, no problem, we really appreciate it. I would like to give a shout out to my wife Maggie, I love you.
So you've got a unique group here. I really do.
Yes, and that's what makes it so great, is there are so many different personalities. Many people say, hey, you're the guy that runs the Red Barn. And yes and no. The buck stops here, but at the same time, it takes everyone to do this. And without all of them, as much as people say I'm in charge, I would put, Luke McLaughlin, Aaron Moon, up there with me. Without them, we run the place,
Right.
and everyone else is right there with us. It takes, what is it? It takes a village. It takes a village.
A lot of support,
Yes.
support staff, everybody working together.
Absolutely, absolutely.
Is there anything you want to leave people with, Michael? A phone number, a Facebook site, or anything? We just want to make sure that everybody has an opportunity to know where they can get tickets and how.
Absolutely. Actually, more of our social media man would be Luke McLaughlin. He'd be better to answer those questions.
Tell us about it, Luke.
Yes, we do have a Facebook page. It is active. We post a lot of updates about if we're having student nights or if tickets are still available for that night's performance. Feel free to follow us at Red Barn Summer Theater on Facebook. The best way to buy tickets, if you want to buy them beforehand, is actually call the box office. Bethany or Chloe, one of them, is usually there, but if they're not, feel free to leave a message. That phone number is 765-659-1657. And you can always look for more information on www.redbarntheater.net.
Well, thank you again for having us out, and I just want to say, break a leg, guys, all right? All right, that's going to wrap it up for Party Line on this Wednesday. Again, special thanks to Aaron and Michael and Jeff Hardesty for helping us out with their time today as well. A special thanks to Ken Hartman back at the studio helping us out, running the board as well, and Melissa Miller, making sure everything works right this morning. Again, I want to thank our Party Line sponsors, Welty Custom Exteriors. Welty works for you. Susan Casper, State Farm Insurance, like a good neighbor, Susan is there. Hardesty Landscaping, Encompass Credit Union, community-minded just like you. Melbourne Healthcare, Ivy Tech Community College, changing lives. Simple Time Antique, step back into a simple time. And ClintonCountyDailyNews.com. We are your free local online newspaper. We'll be back with more Party Line tomorrow morning at 8:30. Have a great day from WILO.